Yeah, let's go.
Largest invasion force that the world would see until D-Day. Washington and his army had retreated to Brooklyn Heights, a neighborhood on the East River that we'll be featuring shortly. The defenses on Governor's Island kept Washington's men covered while they escaped and regrouped further up the Hudson River Valley. The Army of Patriots lost the Battle of Brooklyn, and the city of New York was occupied until the end of the Revolution. But if it hadn't been for the defenses on Governor's Island, the Battle of Brooklyn would do its main artery to the heartland of America. This was the Erie Canal, which began 150 miles straight up this river and ran west to Lake Erie. Built in 1825, the canal revolutionized New York, making it the biggest seaport in the country for more than 100 years. The story of Lower Manhattan has always been one of perpetual change. Kenneth T. Jackson, professor at Columbia University and chair of the National Parks of New York Harbor History Committee.
We are passing now in Battery Park City, which is a 90-acre landfill project now filled with office skyscrapers and residential skyscrapers and a wonderful pedestrian promenade and little parks down at the bottom.
The landfill beneath Battery Park City was excavated when the World Trade Center was built. The site lies just a bit further to the north. We'll point it out as we get closer. So in a very real way, Battery Park City and the World Trade Center grew up together as part of the same move toward urban revitalization. Today, the city must be reborn again.
So much New York experienced some of its finest hours in those days and months of testing after 9/11, as the city pulled together as never before, so that now it's experienced a kind of a rebirth.
Ground Zero is not a standalone site.
Architect Daniel Liebskin won an international competition to design just north of Johnson. It's the Lower East Side, historically the greatest magnificent of the nation.
Early part of the century was the most crowded neighborhood in the world. Wearing Calcutta, Bombay, more crowded than any place in London or Prague, more crowded than any place in Buffalo. This was until recently with Germans and Irish, and especially with Jews from the 1890s to the early parts of the 20th century, Latinos, Chinese, and yet other groups. That has been the real gateway to America, the kind of gateway you can't see from a ship.
Also in the Lower East Side is the Tenement Museum, an affiliated site of the National Park Service. It's a great place to find out more about the neighborhood's vital history. It's clear that, like Manhattan's waterfront, the old Brooklyn seaport is going to experience a renaissance. Some people want to build housing for New York's ever-growing population. And as I'm sure you've noticed, the waterfront does have a great view. Others want to retain the port for maritime uses, not just commerce, but transportation and recreation. One way or another, the movement of Brooklyn's daily life back to the waterfront has already begun. Take a look at the warehouses on the waterfront's pier. These will become become the New Brooklyn Bridge Park, which will run well past the two bridges up ahead. At 70 acres and over a mile long, it will be an incredible addition to New York Harbor's rich park heritage. Over on the Manhattan side of the river, on the left side of the boat, you'll see evidence of how closely the harbor has knit New York together. Up ahead is Pier 17. There you'll see late 19th and early 20th century sailing ships. They belong to the South Street Seaport Museum, which celebrates the harbor's maritime history. From this spot, as from so many others along the New York waterfront, the city was connected to the rest of the world. But even in the days before bridges and tunnels, it was also connected to Brooklyn by ferry. Most of the ferries went from Fulton Landing in Manhattan, right by South Street Seaport, over to Fulton Landing in Brooklyn. By the mid-1800s, New York and its waterfront blossomed. Just listen to the great American poet, Walt Whitman. His work, Crossing Brooklyn Ferry, describes a trip across the East River from the exact same spot we began our journey today.
Flow on river, flow with the flood tide, and ebb with the ebb tide. Frolic on, crested and scallop-edged waves, gorgeous clouds of the sea.